I recently started playing guitar, like, maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
He had no idea how to play guitar. They just handed him a guitar and told him to pretend. Because, like, the way he was holding it, like, his hands weren't even on, like, his fingers weren't on the strings at all. Like, there was that one time they made him sing a song, and, like, you could tell he was just, like, strumming all the strings. Like, it was terrible. And then the opening credits, he looks uncomfortable with it, too.
Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Del.
And this is the Black Catch-Up, where we're catching up on iconic black media we missed out on in our more conservative religious childhood.
This week, or this past, like, week, we watched One-on-One.
And as with all of our TV shows, we just watched the first season.
Yeah.
So things could change, but we only know about this show as far as the first season.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to talk about this one.
I am too. I'm nervous about why you're excited.
I'm nervous too about why I'm excited. But
Okay.
I don't know.
So let's do the IMDb. A sportscaster must take on the responsibility of being a full-time dad when his teenage daughter moves in with him.
All right.
All right.
So
We're going to start off with our first initial thoughts. I'm not on the right thing, so you can go first.
Oh, yeah, things we like.
Yeah.
I loved Flex's character. Like,
Ah,
I thought he was hilarious, charismatic, likable, like, just goofy. Like, he was just really goofy, but, like, still a pretty good dad, like, still just a good friend, good person. And, I think this was one of the first times, like, I actually, maybe it isn't the first time, but, like, this is one of those examples where, like, it's like, he's like a womanizer character, but I actually really liked it. Like, I usually don't tend to like those characters as much, or I feel like they're often kind of done in, like, very poor taste often, but, like, I actually kind of liked him and thought it, like, worked pretty well for him. It didn't seem like he was, like, over the top, like, sexually harassing women or anything.
And anytime he did do something a little shady, I feel as though his daughter was there to be like,
Yeah.
hey, remember women are people?
Yeah, exactly. And, like, even when it came down to it, he would always choose his daughter over anyone else, you know, which is, again, like, how it kind of should be, you know? So, yeah, I just, like, really liked his character, like, from top to bottom, so.
Yeah. Speaking of Flex, I will say the number one thing I liked about the show was the fact that he was a dad taking care of his daughter, but that wasn't the joke.
Yeah.
It was almost as though it was just a regular show where the mom, where, like, if you had a mom and dad there and they were just like, cool, we're taking care of our kid, and they just got rid of the mom, and it's just the dad taking care of the kid. It wasn't a whole, like, he's a dad, and it's a woman's job to take care of a kid, but he's a fish out of water. Like, no, he, like, was a genuinely good dad. He had a bit of a learning curve because he hadn't taken care of her for a long time, for, like, long stretches of time. But he, like, was genuinely just a good dad, and just, like, it wasn't the joke that he was a dad, and I loved that. I was like, as soon as I saw the premise of it, where it's like the sportscaster taking care of his daughter, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be so hard to watch because it's gonna be like, what, dads?
Yeah,
but it wasn't, and I was so happy about that.
Yeah, it really was like he was really just dealing with like regular parent problems. It wasn't like the usual like, oh, like he's a dad who knows absolutely nothing about his daughter. Like his daughter's just dating boy. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't that like
he like knew about her.
So I agree. I like that too.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the next character I liked Brianna a lot. I thought she was like really funny. Like just very like she just had like a very quick tongue. It seemed. You know, like so. I just really liked that, and then, like, again, you mentioned her father. I really liked the relationship with her and her father.
Really good.
You know, I thought, like, that dynamic was just done very well. You know, it kind of shows them as, like, being friends as well as, you know, parent-daughter, and also just, you know, they kind of, like, toyed with that idea of, like, hey, they weren't always together, so, like, there is that learning curve, like you said, but, like, you know, they're in this together kind of thing. So I really liked that dynamic.
And he wasn't, like, treated, and, like, of course he was, like, overprotective and stuff like that, because as a womanizer, he kind of, like, knows those womanizing tricks, so he doesn't want his daughter to fall for that. But he wasn't, like, because I feel as though sometimes on shows, when they make it such a big joke that the dad's the parent, they make it so that they're like, what, you don't play with the My Little Pony sets anymore? And it's like, no, I'm fully 15. Like, he didn't do any of that type of stuff. He, like, fully kind of saw her as the young lady teenager that she was and treated her as a teenager instead of, like, you're my daughter. Wait, you don't want these building blocks? Like,
No, he definitely took the time to, like, really get to know her and, like, you know, not make any, like, assumptions, basically. You know? Okay.
I will say, if we're talking, I also love Tyler Pratt. Like, she's Penny Proud. Like, that's where I know her from. Like, and it was so good to hear that. But I also, the cheerleading episode, just in general, was very amusing to me.
The first one or the second? There was one where they made the team, and then there was one where she became, like, captain.
When they made the team.
Okay.
I also like when she made captain.
Yeah.
But I like when she, and this has to do with her relationship with her dad, where, her dad was like, you can't be, like, going to be on the cheerleading squad to, like, steal this girl's man. She's like, I'm not. I'm going out of spite. And he was like, that's my girl. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to see. I love that.
Little moments like that I really love.
That were just, like, really good.
Okay. I also really liked Dwayne. I just thought he was really funny, and, like, this show kind of gave off, like, very, like, Disney Channel-y vibes to me, but, like, slightly older, I guess, slightly more adult, like, you know, they weren't afraid to kind of tackle bigger issues than a Disney show, but, like, I like Dwayne because Disney tends to do, like, the really dumb character, and he kind of was that same role, more or less, but he wasn't dumb. Like, he was, like, intelligent. Like, he just kind of, like, had unfortunate things happening to him, more or less. Like, I guess, like, the joke was he was, like, short, kind of chubby, like, not the most attractive, not the most, like, well in conversation, like, a little odd, but, like, he was generally, like, a functionally human, which was refreshing, because I feel like a lot of the shows we watched as a kid, like, there was one character who literally, like, how do you put your pants on? You know, so...
Not even that, but you need to remind yourself to breathe, like, what's going on?
Like, you know, so I really liked Dwayne, like, he was funny, you know?
Yeah. I guess we're just going to say we like all the characters, because I liked Brianna and her friends, their antics.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, they're kind of Disney-ish, but I also feel as though, I don't know why, I felt as though they were still relatable and almost grounded in reality a little bit. Even in the Halloween episode where they thought the Phantom guy killed someone, they still were like, I think it just has to do with the chemistry of the cast. Like, the three kids were so good together. I loved how there wasn't one singular, like, punching bag. Like, granted, Brianna often got the last word because she's one of the main characters. But, like, you could still tell that they would rib her, and they would rib her friend, and they would rib Arnez?
Yeah,
Arnez. Like, they rib... In spirit, there we go. They'd rib each other, and it's like a friend group, and I just loved it so much. They were so good together.
Okay. Yeah, my thoughts on the friend group were a little different. Do you have any more things you like?
Not anything like specific.
Okay, because this might briefly get into things I did.
Okay, then you can do yours.
Yeah, I thought, I liked the three of them on screen together. I thought they had good chemistry, but I thought, like, the plot lines they gave Arnez and Spirit were just so, like, lame and just, like, kind of disrespectful. Like, Arnez, like, that first scene where you see them all, like, Arnez comes on the screen, I'm like, oh, he seems like an interesting character. Same with, like, Spirit. And then, like, they turn him into this like, simp who's just obsessed with Brianna, and I'm like, like, I feel like he has so much potential, you know? And I feel like they kind of redeemed him later on.
Yeah, that's...
Like, they kind of gave him that redemption later on. And same with Spirit. I feel like in the beginnings, they didn't really do anything with her. You know, aside from, you know, keeping her in scenes and just kind of having that, like, high school friend group dynamic.
Yeah.
But you really, like, toward the end, I think she started kind of getting her own, like, her own voice and own storyline. So, like, I guess I'm, like, I was kind of excited toward the end to see what they were going to kind of grow into.
I will admit, they were kind of just, like, and these are her friends. Entertainable one, entertainable two.
Like, fairly one-dimensional, like, you know, but
I do think
they definitely did start to evolve toward the end.
So I like it.
Okay. But yeah, I guess that was, like, the unofficial start of things you didn't like, I guess. Or actually, do I have anything else? Okay, I'll get into that later. Okay, yeah, we can get into something.
Okay. Something I didn't like was whatever happened to Tanya.
Okay, actually, this was the part I was thinking if I should say now or later.
Oh, okay.
That was actually the exact thing I was thinking. Like, go ahead.
Because I feel as though Tanya started off as a good character.
No, that's why I never read on the border.
Oh. Because even in my notes, too, I wrote, I like Tanya, because I take notes as I'm, like, watching, so I don't forget things. And then later I put, like, what happened to Tanya? But, like, she seemed like, it was kind of interesting, because she was the first girl that we see Flex, like, pick up, and they pick her up at, like, a lingerie store or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it's like, oh, and is he still going to try to keep, like, his player-ish ways and, like, girlfriend ways while still having his daughter? Like, how's that going to work out?
Yep.
And for a second, it was working out really well, and we got to see she was just, like, a girly, like, fun person who, like, clashed with Brianna because Brianna was more tomboyish, and she didn't want to share her dad, and it was that kind of thing. But then something happened, and it was after they broke up. All of a sudden, she became obsessed with him, and there was that one weird episode where he was trying to, like, push push her away,
Yeah.
and she was like just taking all of his crap when old Tanya wouldn't have done that.
I guess so. I did this like this morning, and how it looked for me. What I wrote down was I like Tanya 1 through 10, like episodes 1 through 10.
That makes sense.
And I guess what happened was they had episodes 1 through 10, and I was like, yeah, like I liked her relationship with Brianna. You started to see it grow.
Yeah.
Like, you started to get those
they were
stuff
antagonizing each other.
Exactly.
But then you can kind of also see they were kind of good-naturedly
together. Yeah.
And she was also an interesting person for Brianna to go to for like girly things.
Exactly, because she doesn't have her mother with her anymore. You know, it made so much sense. I liked it. And then
I was like, cool.
Again, like you said, like Flex, it was like, are you going to keep up this player image? And it almost seemed like he was starting to like settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, but like again, like episode 10 came around and it was like, oh, I don't want to settle down. And then she left. And I was like, and then they did that like, she'll be back soon. And then they like winked at the camera. And then I guess that was like the mid-season finale. And then they had like 2 holiday episodes where the mom came back.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for those too much.
I mean, I have a soft spot for her because she's Michelle.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that too. But I was like,
keep going.
I just like the premise of the show, just being the dad and daughter kind of thing, you know. But then they like didn't have. Then like Tanya didn't come back.
Yeah.
And then there was like a random episode where like they just happened to cross paths and she was dating someone else.
Yeah.
Like she was engaged. Yeah. Then she just broke it off and like was obsessed with this guy. And I was like, this is not Tanya I know from 1 through 10.
Yeah.
You know, so I love Tanya 1 through 10. Then they got rid of her. And I was like, oh no, she'll be back. You know, like she'll probably come back next episode. You know. But it was not. And I hated it. I was like, I hate this a lot.
I was actually really pissed off too.
I was upset because I loved Tanya in the first part, you know.
And she was just starting to be friendly-ish with Brianna, and they like did Flex's room or whatever for that MTV Cribs type thing. And I was like, oh, cool.
You got so much of them bonding, and then
but they still like ripped each other, and it was still like that. It was like, don't get it twisted. I still don't like you the most, but like you're not as bad as I.
And the breakup didn't even seem that serious. Like it was just like because he didn't want to like settle down, I guess. Or I don't know. He's a kid. Like I don't know. Like he was clear and honest with his priorities. I don't know that she should have like just stormed out like that, but like she got engaged and then just like threw it all away for him. It was a terrible way they brought it back.
It was awful.
I guess we should probably. We don't want to rant too much.
We're so.
But that upset me a lot. That upset me
it was
a lot.
not good.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. You can do your next. Oh, that
was my thing.
So mine, one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit, and it wasn't too often, but they did like I guess kind of standard 2000s like not standard 2000s, but they had a lot of like just black stereotypes. They kind of like talked about like they especially the mom, they like called her ghetto on like multiple occasions for no reason, like not any like real reasons kind of thing.
Yeah.
They also had like a couple of stereotypes about like rappers and like basketball players, just kind of like little things like that, as well as just like there were a few instances of like the standard early 90s, like there was like a retarded joke, and a few other jokes, but the one thing I like found very weird about this show, I don't know if you noticed this, but it seemed like every time there was one of those like jokes that like wasn't really a joke and was just like one of those like uncomfortable things.
Yeah.
The laugh track they chose to use was just like really exaggerated. It felt, you know, like and again like this might have just been me noticing this, but like I especially noticed it was like kind of one of the I wrote it down for the retarded joke specifically, but like they said that and like the laugh track just seemed to go on forever, and like I made it a point to like listen to laugh track on the other jokes, and they really were just like more subtle, unless it was one of those jokes that like you probably shouldn't laugh at, I guess. You know, so it almost felt like I don't know, like sometimes I feel like I kind of get just conspiracy theories a little bit, but it's kind of one of those things like, are they like trying to get us to laugh and like trying to desensitize us to these types of jokes? So I kind of got that vibe a little bit, which I've honestly got from like a lot of these 90s shows, but this one I just noticed the laugh track a lot more.
That makes sense.
But I guess you can go ahead.
I don't know if this is a thing I didn't like, because I don't have too many things I didn't like. But this was just, I think I didn't understand Brianna's age.
Yeah, no, I had that down too.
Because they said, because in the beginning they said she was 14 and she turned 15, but maybe I just don't remember those years of my life well enough, but I was like, she's not acting 14?
Okay, I'm actually really glad.
Also, she maybe seems, I don't know what was going on there, but I was like, I'm kind of confused at what age she's meant to be. And it's just a weird thing where it's like, you're saying you're this age, but I also don't feel it. I don't know what that was.
I'm actually glad you brought this up, because I watched this, and like, as episodes, to be honest, like, the hypersexualization of these young children was ridiculous. And, like, I had to look it up. Like, she was actually 14 during this time. And I'm like, this is very strange. Like,
because I was like, I don't think, because she said she was 14. Because in the first few episodes, she is 14, I guess. But I was like, this doesn't feel like 14.
No, it felt like the script was almost written for, like, a 16, 17-year-old, I guess. And like, even then, it still might have been pushing it, you know? But
I don't...
they casted her, and I guess just, like... And I think the part that bothered me, it almost seemed like they, like, forcibly kept telling you she was 14. And I'm like, this is just weird. Like, it was weird,
That's why I was just confused. I was like, I don't think your actions are matching up to the age they're saying.
Yeah, and I guess, like, the only thing I could, like, think to sort of justify it, not even justify it, but, like, one, you don't see this on TV often. Like, I don't think you see 14-year-olds accurately portrayed on TV often.
That's true.
You know, but, like, I tried to remember, like, going into high school is, like, the first time I think I realized, like, life is, like, rated R. You know, like, the whole idea that, like, rated R is, like, you should be 17 plus to see that content. The real world does not follow that same principle. Yeah. So, like, going into high school, like, people do talk about sex. Like, people do talk about these things. Like, so... Like, I guess from that perspective, I kind of got it, but watching it on TV as, like, a grown person now, it felt weird to watch, you know? So, yeah, I definitely had that written down.
I was just, like, 14. That feels incorrect.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was weird. Like, it was...
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially that episode where she had to go to the private school, and they have her in that weird pink dress. Yeah. I was very lost. I was like, what?
They're like, those first couple episodes were weird. They literally had an episode called Jailbait, the second episode, about the party and them trying to, like, sleep with 14-year-olds.
Yeah,
that was rough. That was a rough episode. That was a rough episode. Okay. The last thing I had down was Flat App. I hated that, like, the semblance of syllables.
Oh.
Like, I cringed every time Flat App was said. Every time Flat App was said, involuntary cringe.
I think I just blocked it out, and because the first few times he said it, I was like, "What is that?"
Flat App, like I hated Flat App, like.
But I didn't like
Flat App. I hated it. I hated Flat App. Yeah, I guess that was all I had that I did.
Yeah, that's all I have too.
So, rating.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave this one. I'm gonna give it a 3. Okay, and I really liked the show quite a bit, you know, but again, I think what kind of, like, I wanted to like the show a lot more. Like, I think it would have been a 3.5, but to me, there was, like, a shift at episode 10 when they cut Tanya out and kind of, I guess, it almost felt like they went a different direction after episode 10, you know, with cutting Tanya out, and that, like, kind of hurt the show a little bit to me. And it didn't really start to recover until the last couple episodes, once I felt they really started giving, like, Arnez and Spirit, like, reasonable storylines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of took that, like, big hit after, like, that middle part of the episode, or the middle part of the season. But overall, I actually really did like the show, and I think this, like, kind of was a show for me, in a sense. You know, like, again, like, I really just related with Flex. Like, I liked Flex a lot, and I think, yeah, like, I just really liked the show, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Cool. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, and I think the reason was that this felt as though it was a show I had seen before in a very good way.
Yeah.
Granted, of course I have not seen it. I'm not cheating.
Yeah.
But, like, it felt almost like, you mentioned Disney, it almost felt as though, like, a That's So Raven or something like that, where I would rewatch nostalgically and think, oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
I also, this is just a random thing. I like the little eye gems and stuff they did. Very 2000.
The eye gems?
Like, every once in a while, if the Spirit and Brianna were going somewhere, they would do, like, little tiny, like, eye gems and stuff like that. And I was like,
okay, I know what you're talking about.
It was, like, very 2000s fashion, and it was, like, before Euphoria, and I loved that, and just, like, how fun it was. And I thought the characters were great, and I, liked the way Brianna and Arnez's relationship kind of evolved, because once they stopped making Arnez obsessed with her, and we got to see him as a real person, then it was kind of like you kind of got the start of a will they, won't they, and it was a good will they, won't they, too.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Because we've seen some bad will they, won't theys, but this one felt very believable, because they've been friends for so long, and he always loved her, and she didn't see him that way at first, but then something shifts, and then she's like, you know what? I just thought that was really good, and
of second half Tanya. First half Tanya was amazing. Second half Tanya, no, absolutely not. But, all right, final question.
Are you gonna watch dresses anymore?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's it. No, like this one actually. Probably not, but I'm not gonna lie. They kind of left it on a cliffhanger with the whole tape being sent to Arnaz.
Yeah.
So I might tune in for another couple episodes. I'm not gonna lie. I might tune in for another couple episodes. I'll give it a soft yes.
Yeah. I'm also gonna give it a soft yes, mostly because of that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I more or less just want to know what happens to Arnaz and Brianna.
I know they're gonna drag that out another season.
I know they are.
So I might get completely sucked in.
Yeah. But I just want to know what happens, at least right now, what happens to them. And like I said, this is one of those nostalgic shows for me. Even though I haven't seen it, I still really feel the nostalgia with it. So I won't say that I'll immediately watch it all the way through or anything like that. But I can see where I would instead watch a Proud Family episode of watching this instead or something like that.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to say. We don't ask this question for this, but of the things we've watched, this is probably the one I've most felt I wish I had watched sooner.
Oh,
I 100% would have wanted to watch this one as
I like this a lot.
and I wish I watched this one strongly. All the movies we've watched, all the things we've listened to, all the TV shows. This might be the one. I really wish I saw sooner.
I feel as though, unlike Moesha, which felt like something we would have watched as a kid, this didn't feel like something we would have watched as a kid.
No, it didn't. It definitely did. I see why I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I see why this wasn't on our TV. 100%.
Why we didn't put it on. Or our mom didn't put it on for us, but I can be I kind of wish we did.
No, I fully wish I would.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would have loved to grow up watching this show.
Yeah, it was fun.
But,
so that's one-on-one.
Yeah, that's one-on-one. YouTube housekeeping. Like, comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell for notifications. If you have any suggestions for us, you can leave them in the comments below. We do music and TV shows on Sundays, and on Tuesdays and Fridays we do movies. All of our socials will be linked in the description down below, and we'll see you next time to catch up. Bye! I will say, another thing that got me with the ages, Arnaz has a neck tattoo.
I think they were fake. Because literally, no, that first episode, they both appeared on screen. He had a couple tattoos, and I think Spirit had a tattoo too. And I was like, I thought these kids were 14. They were tatted, but I think his were fake. Because I think they started changing episode to episode.
Okay. I need to double check, but there was one episode where I saw him have a spider or something neck tattoo, and I was like...
No, that first episode, he had Chinese symbols on his arm. He wasn't wearing a shirt. I was like, aren't you 14? I think he was 16 or 17 though.
I don't know.
But, it was weird.